Tuckers. The number 1047 that's blue one over here belongs to the museum here. And the other one here was modified by the second owner. So that it has a 390 Mercury engine in it with Ford-O-Matic in it and rear-wheel drive. And that also brings along such conveniences of power steering and air conditioning. This says Tucker Special on the valve covers.
That's what it is. It's my Tucker Special.
It's actually a 390 Mercury.
Yeah, I know, but it's my Tucker Special.
That the second owner put in this thing here.
Yes, correct.
So that he could have a reliable power plant and reliable transmission.
Right. And the car will drive anywhere now.
And air conditioning.
And air conditioning.
And air conditioning.
Power brakes and power steering.
Oh, little amenities.
That my wife can even drive it, even though it happens very seldom.
Well, I had seen this one before in advertising.
Yeah.
Because if I'd remembered the one with louvers on it. I was told this is the finest Tucker that there is. The gentleman that owns the gold one behind here says this one's worth $500,000.
Well, that wasn't so hard. That's good. That's good.
Because the battery is dead, that they're going to jump it. Exhaust port for each cylinder. It's a 6-cylinder, horizontally opposed aircraft engine. Air cooled. Well, this is, water cooled. The engine is an opposed 335 cubic inch water cooled helicopter engine. That's what it was made from in the first place. The transmission is, he bought them pieces from Cord. And one of the problems that the man over here with the gold one says is that they never backed up right. So consequently that there were some little problems with some of this stuff. Because Tucker went and bought things from whoever he could buy things from. This is Tucker Luggage that some lady donated to this fantastic, beautiful, cleaner than new car. The dash of the Tucker.
It was probably the same kind of shape. Less shape as the blue one.
This is the safety area that was built in underneath the dash there. This great big open spot here that you could climb into in case that you saw a crash about to occur.
Now, I know Mary Lee rode in Tucker 1997 in Ypsilanti. I'm kind of daring standing in front of this, aren't I?
Yeah, but here's a bunch of orders. Yeah. We got to take that.
Shirley, when's the last time you were...
The grand arrival here of Mary Lee Tucker.
No, just Monday.
Oh, Monday?
Monday.
This is Tucker number 47, and this car has 35 miles on it. This car belongs to the Gilmore Museum in Kalamazoo. This is the lowest mileage Tucker that there is. This is number 47, and this golden one here is number 46, and this bright or dark green one over here is number 17, and up by the gas station is number 22. These are 4 out of 51 that were produced. This is the unique one because of this has got the 390, and he's out giving people drives around in it. This nice gentleman here that owns this beautiful gold car here is giving other Tucker members rides around because of he drives his Tucker. The gold modified Tucker. About 1960, a guy bought up 10 Tuckers, but he wanted a rolling chassis to show without a body, so he removed the body from the gold one, kept the steering gear with it and the instrument panel and the engine wiring. Later he put the gold body on an Oldsmobile chassis. Then a Mercury dealer came along and he wanted to buy a Tucker. Well, he chose the one with the Oldsmobile because he thought that that would be the most reliable to get home with because he was going to drive it home. After a while, he decided that this Olds just didn't work out, so he put in a Mercury 390 with a 4-automatic, power steering, power brakes, and air conditioning. And this is what this man has here today, and he drove it here from Arizona.
That's original door handles.
This is the Mercury instrument panel that was put into this Tucker right here that has the Ford drivetrain in it. That the man who owned this second, which owned the Mercury dealership, did all this conversion. This is the engine in the car that only has 35 miles on it, the number 47, that belongs to the Gilmore Museum. The interior of car number 22. This one has a tachometer and no radio. It's beautiful gold interior in it though. This is the crew. The man with the white shirt on owns the car. The man with the hot rod shirt owns.
Can somebody help me get up?
Is the restorer.
Do you mind taking a shot?
I'm Fred Hunter from Fort Lauderdale. This is Tucker number 1017 that we finished restoring just this past Monday. We've been working 2.5 years on it. We've owned the car for about 5 years. It came from San Diego, where a family had owned it for over 25 years. They had it in the San Diego Museum. The car was restored in the early 70s, and at that time a Tucker was worth maybe $4,000 or $5,000. So the quality of the restoration was what you would do on a $4,000 or $5,000 car. So the car deserved to be restored again. So we took it down to every nut and bolt, and every part has been redone and repolished, replated, repainted, restored, remanufactured, whatever it took. And it's just a wonderful, wonderful car. The car was originally this dark green, and when we got it, it was copper tone. And it originally had the green broadcloth interior the way you see the car now. So everything about the car is authentic to the way it was originally restored. I'm holding here the horn button off the car, which in the back says Mills Music Company. It was one of the things we found out about the car. That's off of a Mills Music jukebox. And the steering wheel happens to be a Lincoln Continental, because the Tucker steering wheels weren't ready when they were getting these prototypes out, because each of the 50 prototypes would have been destroyed later on when production started. So they're all made by hand. A lot of lead, which we had to take out because the acid in the lead eats the steel underneath over a period of time. So we had to take all that lead right down the steel, replace an awful lot of the steel. But this is what you see, and we're very, very fortunate to have it and to be able to show it, and hope people enjoy it.
I was told by one of the gentlemen here that this was worth about $500,000.
Well, it might be, but it's not for sale anyway.
I understand that not for sale part.
Right.
But it's beautiful.
Thank you.
It's really nice. You look underneath and it looks just like brand new.
Well,
That's the way
probably
you
looks
did it.
better than brand new. I say that we restored this the way Tucker really wanted to build them.
Yes.
My name is Stephen Bacchus, and I'm 23 years old, and I've been interested in this car since I was about 11. And one of the things that came up earlier was we were talking about the car's weight distribution, because a lot of people are interested in that point of the car, because when you have the engine after the rear wheels, they wonder how the car handles. Well, as this car is sitting right now, the weight distribution is about 65% in the rear, 35% in the front. But one of the people behind the Tucker car was Alex Tremulous. He was a brilliant designer, and one of the things he integrated into the design, the aerodynamics of it, was traveling at about 100 miles per hour, you get a lot of lift going over the rear wheels of this car. So at about 100 miles per hour, the weight distribution balances out about 50-50, which doesn't take care of all of the problem with the weight distribution in the rear, but it does help the handling considerably. Another thing they were interested in was how the car is cooled. When the first prototype was built, they actually had radiators behind the front grills, and those brought the water to the rear of the car. When they did a study of how they wanted to work out the cooling of the car, they found that the best way to do it was to have the radiator back here and have the air blown out the back of it. This gives you sort of a poor man's form of jet propulsion. The air is brought up under the car and through these rear grills here and is pushed out the back, and that also aids the aerodynamics of the car. And it has a drag coefficient of about 0.30, which is absolutely fantastic in its time, and is still a pretty impressive figure today. Car manufacturers struggle with their front-engine cars trying to get that level of drag coefficient, but a lot of that has to do with the fact that the floor pan is completely smooth underneath, and all the air is pushed out through the back of the car.
I'm Walter B. Reddy. I'm from Lake Havasu, Arizona. This is Tucker number 1046. We brought it all the way from Arizona to the Big Tucker Convention in this lovely museum. We've been having a good time this whole weekend. We took this car, we put it inside the movie theater. We had thousands of people look at it there. We took it over there to the Amway Grand Hotel. We had lots and lots of people look at it there. We're back on the grounds giving people rides that are in the Tucker Club, and we've really been enjoying ourselves. If you look around, we have 4 nice Tuckers here, and I'm so glad I've came to this convention. I've owned the car almost 2 years. I bought it at the cruise auction in Vegas. The second owner, Janacek, he got deathly ill, and his widow decided to sell all of his cars, and I happened to be the lucky man at the right time at the right place. So my heart almost jumped out of my chest when I bought this car, and I've never had a better experience in my life than owning this car. This car has changed my life. So I had no idea that a piece of iron could do this much for a person.
Thank you. Part of the convention here included a steak dinner with all the trimmings, and then at 2 o'clock in the afternoon you get cake and ice cream. So these people that all belong to the Tucker Club get all the fixings and everything is taken care of. Besides Walt giving them a ride in a Tucker automobile.
Hi, my name is David Velez. I'm from Chicago. I've been a member of the Tucker Club for the past 9 years, and I'm very excited about being here. It's the first time I'm actually witnessing 4 Tuckers, let alone 1 Tucker was enough, but 4, that's just incredible. What I have right here are things that I accumulated after my 9 years. Spoke with Bill Wells. He's the first person I spoke with, and since then I've been contacting other Tucker members and asking them what exactly is going on, what's this all about, and they gave me some pretty interesting stories, and I haven't stopped since, and I'm very excited about looking into more and hearing more stories, and to know that the daughters are here, and to know that Frank Tucker, who was the curator of the Tucker Archives, is here, and for Phil Egan, who was one of the designers for the Tucker, to be here to actually talk with them is a great honor. And I never met Tucker, Mr. President, but I'm sure that he's a fine and decent man, and his ideas never stopped. When the Tucker failed, he wanted to get back into the automotive industry and start with the karaoke, and from there on, his dream just was never stopped to build something that the people really believed in.
The Tucker is such an interesting automobile, though. The design.
Yeah, I mean, it's incredible. I mean, he's talking about aerodynamics. I mean, the styling of the vehicle itself. I mean, he was talking about safety, which is something that during that time wasn't talked about. And the idea that they had in the mindset was that he wanted to put seatbelts, and this is what I've heard and that I've read, that he wanted to put seatbelts in his vehicle, but his own people were saying that it would make people a little nervous if they got into a car during that period of time, during that mindset, that the car was unsafe. And actually, look what's going on now. Get in the car right now without a seatbelt. People aren't going to exactly feel comfortable with it. Yet he was ahead of his time. Safety, that's important, and that's what he believed in.
I found it interesting that they put a compartment where you can dive underneath in case you see something happening.
It's a crash chamber.
Yeah.
It's actually reinforced steel that was used for potential accidents. Safety. I mean, he came from the racing circuit, and he saw the kinds of accidents that were happening, and he realized that this is something that could happen to anybody. And the big three were interested in looks, and what looks better than this, and Preston was much more interested in the people and their safety. Pop out windshield. I mean, that was another feature that he had on there. It's a story of what could have been, what was next. Fuel injection. I mean, I'm not even an expert on it though, but I heard that those were one of the ideas too. Even the braking system. So for me, not that part of the era, coming right after it, I'm hooked, and I haven't stopped yet. I'm just excited, and this being here revitalizes me to really keep moving and talking about Tucker.
Thank you. Well, the show is over, and it's time to load the car up and take it back to Florida, because of people drive from all over to do this. The gold one that was here that belonged to Walt Riddy, he drove it here from Arizona.